Mr. Speaker, the great thing about being a lifelong member of Parliament is you've never built anything and you don't know numbers.
True.
And you don't. And you don't even read the PBO report, which says it will contribute to projects containing 86,868 units, 130,000 a unit. That is what we're doing, Mr. Speaker.
Ottawa, the heart of Canada's democracy. Inside the House of Commons, tensions were palpable. All eyes were on Prime Minister Mark Carney. Calm, composed, and calculated, he prepared to defend his government's vision for Canada's energy future. Across the aisle, the opposition leader, Polievere, was ready, fiery, vocal, determined to challenge every claim. Today's topic? The controversial pipeline to the Pacific, a project promised months ago, yet already mired in criticism. The Assembly of First Nations had publicly condemned the government for a perceived lack of consultation. Canadians were waiting for answers. And in this moment, every word mattered. Polievere said, "Mr. Speaker, 8 months have passed since the Prime Minister took office. He promised Canadians swift nation-building projects at speeds not seen in generations. Yet today, he has failed to even begin consulting with the First Nations about the Pacific Pipeline. Now, the Assembly of First Nations has condemned his plan, citing a lack of communication and clarity. Will the Prime Minister, for once, speak with transparency? Will he tell the Canadian people, and the First Nations, that he is fully committed to this pipeline and that consultations will finally take place? Or will Canadians continue to see delay after delay? Mark Carney said, "Mr. Speaker, let me speak with clarity, as Canadians deserve. First, would we ram a pipeline through without consultation? Absolutely not. That is not how this government operates. We will follow the principles of free, prior, and informed consent with First Nations. We will work closely with the province of British Columbia. Our Memorandum of Understanding with Alberta is already in place. We know how to consult. We know how to respect. And yes, we know how to lead." Polievere's confident stance wavered. Carney's words were not just answers, they were a lesson in leadership. Calm, firm, and unwavering, the Prime Minister turned every question into an opportunity to assert authority. Polievere, "Mr. Speaker, measured words don't build trust. The Assembly of First Nations demands action, not just statements. Will the Prime Minister admit that he is behind schedule and that Canadians have every reason to question his promises?" Carney, "Mr. Speaker, the member opposite continues to misrepresent the facts. Consultation is ongoing. The First Nations are being engaged. Our actions are deliberate, respectful, and transparent. Canadians and Indigenous communities will see results, not empty promises. Unlike the opposition, we operate with integrity and precision." The chamber murmured. Applause rippled across the government benches. Carney had delivered a sharp reply, leaving the opposition scrambling for a retort. Polievere's rhetoric, once so sharp, now seemed hollow against Carney's measured authority. Polievere, "Mr. Speaker, respect is more than words. First Nations have seen no tangible progress. How can they trust this government when promises remain unfulfilled?" Carney, "Mr. Speaker, action speaks louder than accusations. Consultations are underway. Every concern is being addressed. And let me assure the House, the pipeline will move forward responsibly, with the consent of First Nations. No shortcuts. No compromises. Just firm, principled leadership." Polievere's attack, intended to destabilize, had backfired. Carney's calm, assertive responses were leaving the opposition struggling. Every clause, every carefully chosen word reinforced Carney's image, a leader capable of balancing ambition with respect, and urgency with diligence. Polievere, "Mr. Speaker, Canadians are watching. They want clarity. They see delay and uncertainty. Will the Prime Minister commit to a timeline, or will indecision continue to define his tenure? Carney, Mr. Speaker, let me repeat, with full clarity. The timeline is clear. Consultation with First Nations is thorough and ongoing. Once complete, the pipeline will advance responsibly and decisively. Canadians can trust that this government acts with both ambition and respect, not mere rhetoric. Cameras captured every glance, every gesture. The House of Commons was electric. Social media buzzed. Canadians were debating every word, every nuance. And yet, Carney remained composed, undaunted, unwavering. Polievere, Mr. Speaker, words are cheap. The Assembly of First Nations has seen no results. How can Canadians trust that this government will deliver? Carney, Mr. Speaker, Canadians expect leadership. First Nations expect respect. We provide both. Consultation is happening. Action is underway. And the pipeline will proceed only when these principles are fully honored. Unlike the opposition, we do not shy away from responsibility. Each of Carney's answers was a masterclass in political strategy. Polievere's repeated attempts to corner him fell flat. Every attack was met with calm, firm, and unassailable clarity. Polievere, Mr. Speaker, respect cannot be measured in words alone. The Assembly of First Nations demands action. Canadians demand leadership. Will the Prime Minister finally act or continue this pattern of delay? Carney, Mr. Speaker, clarity has been provided. Respect is being ensured. Consultation is complete in its due process, and Canadians can trust that our vision for Canada's energy future is bold, responsible, and actionable. Applause erupted across government benches. Even those who had doubted Carney's ability to manage this political storm could not ignore the force of his leadership. He had turned every attack into a display of competence, every challenge into an opportunity to showcase vision. Polievere, Mr. Speaker, Canadians need certainty. First Nations need genuine dialogue. Will the Prime Minister finally show leadership? Carney, Mr. Speaker, Canadians have seen our leadership. First Nations are being consulted with the utmost respect. The pipeline will proceed responsibly, ensuring that progress does not come at the cost of principle. That is leadership. That is action. And that is the standard Canadians expect from their Prime Minister. In that moment, the chamber knew it. Carney had not just answered questions, he had dominated the debate. Pierre Polievere, once confident, now sat defeated, his fiery questions diminished by Carney's calm authority. This was more than a debate over pipelines. It was a lesson in leadership, in courage, in the art of decisive governance. Carney had turned the House of Commons into a showcase of his ability to balance ambition with integrity, urgency with respect. Canadians watching at home saw it clearly, a Prime Minister who delivers on promises, who consults before acting, and who stands firm even in the face of opposition. Pierre Polievere's challenges only highlighted Carney's strength. Every sharp answer reaffirmed that Carney was a leader the country could trust. The pipeline debate was not just about energy. It was a testament to leadership, strategy, and vision. Carney had proven that true leadership is measured not by rhetoric, but by action, thoughtful, deliberate, and unwavering. And as the House of Commons session ended, one thing was clear. Mark Carney was not only defending a pipeline, he was defending the very principles of Canadian leadership, principles of respect, consultation, integrity, and decisive action. Canadians, First Nations, and even the opposition knew it. Carney had delivered, and no question, no criticism could shake his resolve.